Lost Lullabies: The Orphanage Chronicles is a classic co-op horror game set in 1980, and it happens to be inspired by real stories of an orphanage that was ruined by a mysterious fire in 1960 Lowell, Massachusetts. The main objective of this game will task you and 3 of your friends to identify and expel demonic spirits, but don't think this is gonna be an easy walk in the park. So without further ado, let's break down Lost Lullabies: The Orphanage Chronicles in this Game Sandwich review. Shrouded in mystery. Within the fog-ridden outskirts of Lowell, you'll find the eerily quiet Lowell Orphanage. Now, this building has been through the ringer, but it looks on par with its bountiful stories and dark secrets that lurk within. Before the fire broke out at the Lowell Orphanage, the children who did live within the confines of these walls were subject to some of the most gruesome acts of torture and outright diabolical experiments. And if you do listen close, their screams can be heard even today. Now, the secrets of the orphanage remained unsolved up until 1980, when 4 friends set out to explore the grounds and really uncovered what exactly happened here. So within Lost Lullabies: The Orphanage Chronicles, you will be greeted with a 4-chapter story mode, which does recount their journey through these hallowed halls. And it is worth noting the story mode can be completed by yourself or within the co-op online mode, which, if you're like me and you don't like to be scared, it offers up an infinite amount of hours of entertainment. The grim ghosts come out to socialize. While on the hunt for evil spirits, hunters must figure out what type of ghost they're exactly dealing with. This is where Lost Lullabies: The Orphanage Chronicles puts a classic twist on the ghost hunting game formula. Each of the 20 ghost types comes with a rather tragic backstory that is presented through puzzles players must solve while on the hunt. Now, at first, players should discover what exact ghost type they're dealing with, mainly to learn its strengths and weaknesses. Now, this could be easily achieved by using the 24 different types of equipment that range from the classic EMF reader to a high-quality video camera. And once that step is completed, players will be left to solve the puzzle based on the ghost's past. And if this is all done correctly, you will be able to perform the exorcism. Dealing with dark figures. While on the hunt within the orphanage, you may hear an unfamiliar voice, but don't worry, this one isn't out to kill you. Well, at least not yet. There really isn't too much known about this mysterious being outside of the fact they enjoy a good trinket. While trying to balance dealing with demonic spirits, be sure to collect these small golden trinkets along the way, and they're all scattered throughout the map. While some are pretty easy to locate in the overworld, some are pretty easy to miss. But if you got an eagle eye, you can collect these trinkets and bring them back to the shady dealer, and exchange your golden trinkets for various items like the Glimmerstone, a Ouija board, or even a crown. And while each item does have its own place in the overall gameplay meta, the one I found the most useful was the Glimmerstone. And the main purpose of the glowstone is to glow brighter as you near the ghost's primary location. Which, if you are new to this type of game, this ability is pretty useful, especially early in the hunt. Now, when dealing with ghosts and demonic spirits, there's always a layer of chance. But this is where the shady dealer also gives players the rare opportunity to sell their plunder, all to get the leg up on the spirits that are closing in on them. When players offer up one of their prized trinkets, they also have the opportunity to completely reshuffle the shop's inventory. And in this instance, you don't know what you're gonna get. Now, this also applies to the shop's mystery box, which will run you about 2 trinkets, and in this instance, players will be given a randomized item, such as a crucifix or even sage spray. And upon trying my luck in the shop, I often found this to be a real game changer, which in some instances really helped me get the exact items I needed to finish the hunt. While in other cases, well, I wasn't too successful. Expelling evil spirits. Like I mentioned earlier, if you followed the proper steps and collected all the clues, you're ready to exorcise this ghost. And this right here is the part of the game that proved most difficult to me. When you enter the map for the exorcism, the player is given a simple task to locate the spirit and help make their soul whole again. And in this instance, I was tasked to collect pieces of Mr. Cuddles, who happens to be the prized teddy bear of the ghost Emma. Upon locating her, my objective was to find the sewing kit and all 6 pieces of Mr. Cuddles. The only problem is, the parts were scattered around the first section of the map where I've been previously hunting this whole time. But that's not the most confusing part. The problem here is, I had no clue where to start. This is where I applied my experience with this game and slowly figured out each section of Mr. Cuddles are going to be stowed away like trinkets during normal hunts. And after a good scan of the area, I located my first part, which was given away by a ghostly green aura. But that's where I shouldn't have celebrated too soon, because this is where I encountered my next problem, and it happened to be a killer toy. Now this toy silently stalks you as you frantically try to locate all the parts of the bear, but if you take your eye off him, you will no doubt become his next victim. Now, during my first encounter with this toy, my first instinct, much like all other times, was to simply run away. But I slowly realized this was not the proper way to deal with this killer. Now, upon slowing down and kind of going through all my steps here, I realized on the front table whenever you first walk into the mansion, there was a riddle that did allude to this idea of not taking my eye off him. Applying this logic here, I found the best way to buy yourself more time was to simply shine your light on the killer toy and he would disappear for a short amount of time. So if I had to warn you guys about one thing, it's safe to say, don't rush through all the hints of this game. If you do, much like me at first, you're gonna find yourself trapped in an endless loop of death. My problems aside, now that you've located all the parts of Mr. Cuddles, it's now time to make him whole again, and expel this trapped soul. Upon bringing all the needed parts to the table along with the sewing kit, you'll stitch up Mr. Cuddles and then Emma will shuffle up to the table to reclaim her prized bear. After that, she'll float away into the night after thanking you. Albeit while this part of the game was pretty challenging, this is the part of the game I enjoyed the most. And that's simply because I've yet to play a ghost hunting game like this. That really makes you think about the clues you collected and take in all the added bits of useful lore. Our final resting place. Lost Lullabies: The Orphanage Chronicles is a game that will scratch that horror itch, all while offering up a fresh take on the classic ghost hunting game formula. From the dreary, tattered photos on the walls, dark yet soul-shivering letters written by former occupants, each of these act as a clue to solve the orphanage's many secrets. Being a seasoned ghost hunter, I was fully expecting a rather repetitive game loop, but I was pleasantly surprised to discover that Lost Lullabies: The Orphanage Chronicle does so much more when compared to other games in the space. By giving the hunters themselves short yet quirky backstories, to the gruesome tales of the ghosts themselves, I found myself fully invested in the world that Pugsy Studios has built, and because of this, I will no doubt be including Lost Lullabies: The Orphanage Chronicles in my weekly game rotation, and you should as well. But with all that being said, Game Sandwich would like to give Lost Lullabies: The Orphanage Chronicles an 8 out of 10. And if you want more video content just like this, keep it locked to Game Sandwich for all your gaming news, rumors, and reviews. I've been K-Lo, and I'll see you guys next time.